What's up guys, Sando here. It's finally time to review something truly special in the headphone kingdom. It's coming from Russia and it's called Kennerton Gjallarhorn, which I'll be simply calling horns from now on. So what is so special about this unit, you might ask? So this is a world first horn-loaded closed back headphone. The basic working principle is exactly like that of a gramophone or a horn-loaded speaker, where you have a small driver that will be producing sound waves which will be passively amplified by the horn design. So you'll be simply increasing its sensitivity and most importantly the depth and the sound staging capabilities of these headphones. Very interesting and very promising ideas, but let's move on and check if it will deliver on all that promises. Their look is of course a very subjective thing, but after touching the solid wood cups covered with leather and with a Kennerton logo coin in the middle, after playing with those detachable full leather earpads and after seeing the full metal frame and its simple yet effective adjustment mechanism, you can be unimpressed by their looks. Its structure is entirely made out of metal, it's sanded with matte black paint, the headband stands out as it automatically adjusts to your head size and it's putting little to no pressure around the ear or on top of the head. The earpads are user removable and that is a key aspect for me as I use headphones on a daily basis. They are really soft to the touch, they are filled with memory foam and they are plushy enough to be used in long listening sessions. They are made out of real leather, so you can be sure that they will not peel off in time. Gjallarhorn weighs only 406 grams or about 0.9 pounds, and that is few grams lighter compared to Magni, and it is much lighter weight compared to flagship planar magnetic headphones. So in terms of comfort, Gjallarhorn together with Magni are currently some of the most comfortable headphones I have ever used. As for the tech inside this unit, this is a closed back headphone and with it Kennerton wanted to try something that no one did until now. Developing an actual horn in a closed back design is not for the faint of heart, because you need to make a lot of free space in the wooden cup to accommodate an actual horn. You need to mechanically decouple the driver from the wooden cups, and of course you need to seriously dampen the back side of the driver so you would have less distortion and a really nice tonal balance. It's a trifecta that needs to be balanced to achieve nice sonics and measurements and a nice looking pair of headphones too. At the base of the horn sits an extremely thin 50mm graphene coated driver that will need small voltages to be moved and play music for you. They also used graphene in their Magni headphones, and as my review proved, that is a very capable driver when it comes to speed and slam, but also in terms of detail and transparency. With it, Kennerton killed two rabbits with a single shot. It's extremely thin, much thinner than cellulose drivers its competition are using. In real-life tests, it proved to be extremely fast sounding with shorter decays, and not a lot of power was needed to make it sing. Making that driver out of graphene was another genius idea, as it's 300 times stronger than steel, making it hard to damage, but really easy to move when applying a magnetic force. Kennerton is actually one of the very first adopters of such drivers, and I'm happy to see it used more often as graphene has great potential when it comes to acoustics. Okay guys, I'm ready for some well-deserved music, so let's hit some eardrums. Generally speaking, when I'm thinking about closed back headphones like these ones or that ones, I'm thinking about best-in-class bass performance, about a thunderous slam and impact. I'm thinking about a really cozy but upfront presentations. I'm feeling about really nice passive noise attenuation, and not a lot about open, expansive, open wide sound, about amazing depth performance. And sure enough, that bass heft was felt immediately, and that lifelike mid-range performance of the Magni was present as well. But there was a lot more than that. Sounds were simply coming from afar, from different starting points, and they were hitting me from different angles, and that felt a little bit weird at first. I was already expecting a pretty large left to right soundstage, and sure enough I've heard that from the first seconds. But the name of the game with these headphones is actually not the soundstage size, but the depth and layering that was simply unheard of until this moment. There was a very strong sense of deja vu with these headphones. The tonal balance was very reminiscent of that of the Magni headphones. There is zero of that nonsensical V-shaped performance that most of the closed back headphones from Fostex Beyerdynamic and Sennheiser are having. Kennerton simply infused some soul in these ones, and you will not find in here that hollow, that ethereal and that empty sound of the closed back headphones. With horns, there is simply a lot of meat to the bone. There is a naturalness and a lot of real textures that only a wooden chamber can provide. Marvelous bass and treble performance was already expected from a closed back design, and I think that they delivered all that with flying colors. But the mid-range density and that heavy air around every note was something else that was making them truly special and standing out from the rest of the closed back flock. So it is already clear to me that Kennerton is not following any rules, doesn't want to have a Me Too product, doesn't want to please the closed back crowd. They want to try something different, something that nobody did until now, and by the gods, they succeeded. Power requirements is also an important aspect which I think I need to mention. So these ones are using exactly the same drivers of the Magni, but since it has a horn which passively amplifies the sound waves, it is by about 1 dB easier to drive compared to that one. So it now sits at a very high 116 dB per 1 milliwatt of power, making them one of the easiest to drive, one of the most sensitive headphones, desktop headphones, which I've tried. So as you can see, that horn-loaded design, that super low 33 impedance, that super thin graphene-coated driver, all of those played major roles in achieving a super high sensitivity. Compared to some hard-to-drive headphones, they need by about 15 dB less to the OTC LCD4, 14 dB less to the Hi-Fi Man Aria, and they're about on the same level power-wise with portable over-ear headphones like the Momentum line by Sennheiser or the 99 line by the Messe Audio. So that is a very big deal in my book, because not a lot of people are comfortable buying portable or desktop headphone amplifiers. A lot of them are simply not having desktop headphone setups and are always on the move. And what I want to say is that with Gjallarhorn, most probably any headphone jack will drive them to pretty loud levels. That transportable shoulder bag now completely makes sense, because you can carry them to your office and back home. You can use them in long or short trips with just a smartphone and a music subscription and be extremely happy with the outcome. As for the Soundstage Depth, if you are thinking of buying the horns instead of the cheaper Magni, you are doing that only because of this reason alone. Okay guys, I'm ready to say it out loud. Kennerton Gjallarhorn is sounding wider and deeper compared to the Hi-Fi Man Aria, to the HD 6XX line by Sennheiser, wider and deeper compared to the semi-open headphones like Olo S4X, and much bigger compared to the all closed back headphones that I tried up to this point. Yep, Magni included. Gjallarhorn is like that, and it's a little bit weird at first experiencing such a big distance between your left and your right ear. There is a small sense of confusion within the first minutes after pressing play, because you simply don't expect that. If you need special cues, it got that in spades, and if you need a deeper performance to deconstruct your live records, horns got that too. So I will simply say it from the start that from all closed back headphones that I tried up to this point, only Kennerton Creation and Sennheiser HD 820 sounded compelling, big, open, wide and deep. Before you go crazy, I need to mention something that is very different sounding compared to open back headphones, and that is decay of the notes and that imaginary walls that all the notes are hitting with closed backs. So with open back headphones, there is a very smooth, natural decay of the notes, that notes are simply disappearing from your music. You hear them and then you hear them not. But with closed backs, there is a sense that they are hitting a wall and are abruptly decaying. There isn't that smooth transition from inception, sustain and decay of a note. That will not happen in here, and sadly nothing can be done about it. Sennheiser tried with a concave glass sheet and it didn't work. Sony tried with holes spitting air outside of the chamber, and that didn't work also. It's simply a limitation that we must live with when it comes to closed backs, and Gjallarhorn are simply no different. As for the Transient Response, Gjallarhorns are extremely engaging sounding, very joyful sounding, and I see them positioned as music listening headphones and not as music making headphones. However, there is a very strong phenomenon happening with these headphones. Since the drivers are sitting farther away from your ear canal with a horn between this wooden chamber and your eardrums, sound waves need to travel a longer distance before hitting your eardrums, and because of that, the final impact, the final slam will be slightly diminished compared to Magni headphones. So they are not as punchy sounding compared to the Transient monsters, which I called the Magni. Its drivers are indeed the same, but since the ear distance is longer, you'll be simply experiencing a lesser impact compared to the Magni. But if you go with modern overprocessed music, which I'm not very much into, then the slam is a non-issue anymore. My usual electronica test tracks are still thumping me like I'm between the hammer and the anvil. Thor's sounds, Magni, impact and slam can be achieved with the right music, and I've experienced that multiple times even with the Gjallarhorn. Hell, even blues had a very distinct thump due to contrabass notes which are moving a lot more air than a bass guitar would move, and I'm feeling that pretty easily with the Gjallarhorn. Besides the final blow, that was attenuated a bit, everything else like speed, how much air a note could bring in the room, remained completely intact. Gjallarhorn is a natural speeder and knows how to land a punch too, but only with the right music. In terms of detail retrieval and transparency, I wasn't surprised anymore to hear a lot of micro details, small nuances in my music, small imperfections in my songs, because these ones are having exactly the same drivers of the Magni and those sounded extremely clean. So there isn't any kind of veil or muddiness in my music. They offered considerably more details compared to headphones like Sennheiser Momentum 2 or Mesi 99 Classics. Kennerton didn't add over sharpness in this, so there is a very small drop in the treble region. Especially the most sensitive part of our hearing is rolled off a bit. That makes the treble manageable and pleasing with bright recordings. Moving on to the frequency response, bass performance can be summarized as close to perfect in this one. So sub-bass starts really strongly, even from the lowest octaves. I felt it loud and clear with my electronica tracks and with those 20 Hz sweep tones. And it shouldn't come as a surprise that a well-engineered closed-back headphone is sounding absolutely amazing in terms of bass, as Magni did absolutely the same. So if bass is important to you, then both headphones, so Kennerton Gjallarhorn and Magni, are absolutely amazing and will impress you right away. So there is a lot of texture in this region, there is quite a lot of layers can be felt in the bass. It's speedy and punchy and it sounds in a clear manner. I didn't feel them having a bass cannon or a slow subwoofer-like bass in here. Low end was always clean sounding, it was controlled and it decayed at the right moment. Mid-range in a closed-back headphone is quite difficult to move forward, as a lot of manufacturers can't provide a really nice mid-range. Fostex tried that with their closed-back headphones with wooden cups. They added a lot of texture but not a lot of weight in this region. So I'm not exactly sure how Kennerton did it, but the mid-range density, it's absolutely amazing. It has a lot of weight, it has a lot of charisma in here too. Voices are not crumpled at all. Male voices are still having steel cojones, and females are having a pretty nice pitch. If you would experience goosebumps with this, that would happen thanks to its natural presentation of the mid-tones. And mind you, it's not overdone, but it attracts quite a lot of attention of the listener. As for the treble, it's not far off from my linearity curve, so it sounds pretty damn impressive in here too. There is quite a lot of spark up top, there is quite a lot of details even past top octave. There is a nice shimmer and texture in here too. So listening to everything from classical music to metal, the treble quality is extremely important. So I still want to hear those cymbals crashing aggressively but decaying softly. Snare drum hits need to be executed perfectly and decaying with a faster tempo. Gjallarhorn has all that, just to a lesser degree. In the most sensitive part, there is still a small drop in the treble that makes it smoother and more natural sounding. You will not find brightness and harsh tones in here, but a natural rendition of it with plenty of information. I also measured their performance using a mini DSP ear system, and I will briefly show you right now their raw frequency response, which shows a very good driver matching. Their total harmonic distortion is low considering it's a closed back dynamic headphone. It is actually lower compared to HD820 by Sennheiser, which is kind of impressive. If you are curious how they stand versus the mighty HD820, here is a frequency response chart between the two. Blue HD820 and brown is the Gjallarhorn. As you can see, horns are considerably more linear top to bottom, with a much better treble response, all that at a much lower price point. Waterfall and spectral decay are showing a longer driver vibration and decay in the bass region, but again, it's a closed back headphone, so that is pretty normal. I also compared the horns with the Magni, but since I don't want to make this video super long or boring, please check out my detailed comparison in the written review that you can find somewhere around here. It's one click away. As for the conclusion, it reached its purpose, and all those issues of closed back headphones seems like a distant, long forgotten dream. They cost more than the fun sounding Magni, but instead of a regular closed-in sound, you are getting an open, wide and deep sound that surpasses even some of my open back headphones. And that is a trait that not a lot of headphone manufacturers can be proud about. At 1080 euros, Gjallarhorn is by no means a cheap headphone, but considering its immaculate build quality and from highest grade materials and its unique sound characteristics, I find their price extremely competitive, and I'm happy to recommend them if you are looking for something else. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. My full in-depth review is waiting on my website. In case you want to support this channel, please subscribe to it, and thank you for doing that. And as usual, listen to more music, be positive, and I'll see you next time. Cheers guys, bye bye.